We got so we're here with Chris Sullivan for another episode of Flight Tales. Woo.
Flight Tales.
Chris doesn't do it. So you're a private pilot, quadriplegic private pilot, which is amazing. How did you end up getting interested in aviation, and how and then also how did you become a quadriplegic? What happened? I know you were in the Army, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I was a 12 Bravo combat engineer.
So what did you? What was it?
What is that?
What was that? What is that? For the guys that aren't in the military,
It's a variety of things.
Yeah.
Okay. Mostly it's landmine warfare. We'll help with IEDs. We do route clearances. We'll clear the roadways for the convoys that we're supplying different FOBs, which is forward observation bases, getting supplies, medicines, and stuff in. Before they would track that road, we would go out and clear them and make sure that they were not inundated with IEDs, which is improvised explosive device that can pretty much be catastrophic.
Yeah, so I mean, blow a tire off or blow the whole truck up.
No, this would almost
destroy the whole convoy.
Destroy what it blows. Yeah.
So you didn't get blown up by one of these?
It got hit by one. I got hit with 3 African 155 rounds in a Humvee, and it kind of.
You were riding in the Humvee, and
yes,
and
I was actually gunner, and one of my TCs, my sergeant, had told me, Sergeant Sullivan, sit down, because you stand up in the turret, sit down, and I'm like, well, I got to check this, and I'm sure glad I listened to him, because the second I sit back down, it was a big boom. We went airborne, and by the time we come down,
in a tank?
No, it was a up armored. It was a up armored Humvee.
Okay, I think you said that.
Yeah, and the driver was trying to get away, but there was no engine left. So it's pretty hard to get away when you don't have a drivetrain.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Man.
But
so how would y'all normally go clear the mines? Like,
Well,
how would y'all?
we had what was very new in that time. It was called the Buffalo. It was a V-shaped automobile that technically was blast resistant, because if something blew up on the side, it made it more of a directional blast to where it wasn't just a flat surface.
Yeah.
But you had 2 Humvees in front and 2 Humvees in the back. So if you had the privilege of riding the Buffalo, it was pretty much a cakewalk.
Yeah.
But if you were
in the Humvee in the front of the
yeah, and I was pretty much lead truck gunner, so it was pretty interesting every
time you went out. Yeah. What happened to make you
right? So that didn't do this.
Yeah.
No. We got called out on a couple of EOD missions, secured 2 of them, disarmed them, and we went to another one. We put an inner and outer cordon, which is kind of like a circle around. You got the inner cordon, which is a circle around the initial ID, and then you have an outer cordon. Make a long story short, they set up an ambush. They started shooting artillery rounds. We took cover and hired up, called for a sit rep, which is a situational awareness, bullets, lives, if anything happened during that attack.
So that's not like an airplane flying over.
No. So I just lit me a cigarette. I was a smoker back then. Just lit me a cigarette, and I was like, all right, let me go check on my troops. So stood up from the side of the Humvee. As soon as I stood up from the side of the Humvee, pop.
It was a sniper.
It was a sniper. It hit me in the neck, but at that time, I thought it was a bomb because the way the percussion kind of hit me.
Yeah.
So I thought my face is blown up.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But I laid down and I couldn't move my arm. I was trying to move, and I was like, am I dead? Like, did my brain just not shut off yet? And I had a battle buddy, Thibodeau, come running around the corner and grab me and pull me, and my arms kind of fell to the side, and I can hear the bullets hitting the asphalt, and it sounds like bumblebees flying.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of looked up, and I just saw blood shooting up with like every beat of your heart. Like, you see it, wait a second, beat it.
Oh,
so,
man.
Yeah, and I was like, this probably ain't going to be too good.
Yeah.
So, but had great medics, had great support staff.
So the medics came and
pretty much got
you up a little bit.
Got me where I needed to get, and medevac came in and took me to the hospital, and been pretty much fighting ever since.
So they brought you to the hospital, and then I guess told you that, hey, you're quadriplegic.
I woke up in Germany. They had to put me in an induced coma. Just because they had to grab my carotid and left jugular and stuff like that.
So you remember being in the field, and then next thing you remember is Germany.
It's crazy because I remember getting shot, waiting on the chopper, getting on the chopper, and I was going into shock, and I remember just busting out laughing.
Oh, really?
Because the flight medics on the helicopter was wearing their big helmets, and I was like, my mind, I was like, I'm getting picked up by aliens.
So you were out of it.
So I am dying, and I'm like, I'm getting picked up by aliens. So yeah, but and then I passed out then, and when we landed on top of the hospital, I woke up because of the jolt.
Yeah,
and I remember getting corded in, doctors over me and stuff like that. But honestly, was never really scared.
Oh, really?
And I had zero pain.
No pain. So from the time you got shot till, I guess, okay. So
I had zero pain at that point. I don't know if it was just my body going through like its protective mode and stuff, or that the bullet severed my spine. I mean, if either or you got the AXA-MD on your cast next time.
So they got you in Germany, and then you had surgery, or did they?
They grabbed my carotid. They got me stabilized. My spine was still severed. And then I had to fly to Germany to do it because they didn't want me to get a blood infection. Yeah. So knowing my luck, guess what I got? Blood infection. So then I caught spinal cord meningitis.
Oh, man.
So, I mean, they were just loading the wagon, and I was just pulling it like an old mule.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. So you ended up after that, after Germany, did you come back to the U.S.? Or?
I actually, came back to the U.S. I went to Walter Reed. Then I went to Audiel Murphy in San Antonio for my final rehabilitation.
Okay.
They were expecting, just because of my injury and stuff, they were expecting probably, if not a year or two, of just being able to be mentally.
Yeah, that's a big mental.
Yeah. But I'm going to be honest with you. I actually just lost a really, really, really good friend of mine. Mm-hmm. His name was Russell Mesh. He was an old, well, I don't want to say old because I don't want to
sound about the same age as you.
No. No, he was. He actually worked at Lafayette Tower.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, he was air traffic control for the Marine Corps and came back and worked here for like 20 years.
Oh, okay. I met him.
But I'm from Rain, and he was from Rain, and he heard I got shot. His daughter lived in Maryland. So he flew all the way up there to come and see me, okay?
Oh.
And if there is a picture of a Marine, he should be on a doggone poster.
Yeah.
The big jawline, just that.
Oh, he's like the perfect Marine.
The perfect Marine, yeah. Yeah, like this is like they made him in a lab to be a Marine, okay? And I had everybody in there like, poor Chris, like, what can I do to help? Oh my God, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a trach in my throat. I can't even curse him out because I have a trach in my throat. So Russell walks in, and he looks at me and he tells me, Chris, you got one or two options. You can lay in bed and be a cripple your whole life.
Yeah.
Or you can get your ass up out of bed and you can become somebody.
Yeah.
That is the only thing you have in your hands. That is the only decision from this point forward that you can do.
He talked real to you.
Yeah. And you know the craziest part? He didn't talk no more.
He didn't talk no more?
He just turned out and walked out. I don't know who the hell this man was. I was like, what kind of pain medicine they just gave me? Is this man for real?
God?
Yeah. God? Is this you? So, but he was also a pilot.
Oh, okay.
A great man. The Mesh family is great from Rain. They I'm real good friends with his son, which Jeff, if you're listening, he's way older than me.
Yeah.
He got out the Marine Corps. He was search and rescue in 83, and I was born in 83.
Oh,
so
okay.
I like to think I'm the youngest of the bunch.
Yeah, well, that's
that-
some
that-
tough
that-
words. I mean, you could have. He's
But
right though.
I don't think he was coming in there to be tough.
Yeah.
I think he was just coming to say the hard truth.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't want to tell you the hard truth because they don't want to hurt your feelings, but it diminishes who you need to be in the future. So I owe a lot to Russell. And like I said, he passed away a few months ago, and it was pretty devastating. And but I know he's in a better place, and he's still down giving me advice.
Yeah.
You know, if a landing ain't right, he's one of those persons like, you ain't landing center line, Chris. I mean, come on. You
can hear him in the back of your head.
I can hear him in the back of your head. Like, hey, you can land a little better than that. Like, but yeah, no, he was very inspirational at that point. And then my rehabilitation was just, got to San Antonio, and they were telling me, you know, at least a year or two. I was like, well, my guys come home in about 3 months. And they said, Chris, there's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still in one of those little, excuse me what I said, cripple chairs.
Yeah.
Like not I can't even push.
Yeah. At that point, you can move your arms at that point.
I had to relearn how to use my arms. And how I did that was when you sitting down and you're not moving, a lot of saliva gets in your mouth. So you know how they have the little suction tubes next to the bedside, if y'all ever been. So they were literally taped that suction tube to my right hand. And the first couple of times I went in my eye, my forehead, my ear.
Bad aim, yeah.
I was getting the earwax out, but it showed me how to control it.
Yeah.
And they switched it to the other hand. And I had a doctor, and he was actually, do you know what's crazy?
What's that?
Dr. Fred Fredrickson. Well, I'm sorry, Mark Fredrickson.
Mm-hmm.
He was middle school, riding with his mama, and got in a car accident. Became a C7 quad, almost identical as me. Okay. Went to school, became a medical doctor, and he was chief of spinal cord injury.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yes. And when I saw him, and he was humping it like down the hallways, he was like a rocket.
Yeah.
And the knowledge that he had, the charisma, I based my rehabilitation on, I'm younger than him. I can be him one day.
Yeah. You had an idol to look.
I had a very good idol, and
Yeah.
we still stay in contact now. And I mean, he knows a lot. He's a part of a lot of studies when it comes to spinal cords and stuff like that. And he's out of San Antonio, and another inspiration.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I know we're going to go more into what I'm doing, but I just want to take a pause here. He played such a pivotal role because he didn't tell me what to do. He didn't tell me how to do it. I asked him questions. I was like, man, how can I manage my bladder better?
You could see him doing well. I mean,
right.
yeah.
But I would ask him, and like, how do I transfer better? Like they doing it in physical therapy, but
yeah,
you tell me.
Yeah.
And you know what he told me?
What?
Chris, I can't tell you.
You have to just do it.
You have to learn it.
Yeah.
Because your way and my way are going to be different. And that's real.
Yeah.
And that's why I always push forward. I'm not going to say defeat the odds, because the odds were, I mean, if you push yourself hard enough, you can do anything you want. You really can. I just want to set that standard for somebody that's in my situation, to be able to know that the only limitations you have is the limitations that you put on yourself. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's the God honest truth.
Yeah.
It's the God honest truth.
Yeah.
I went skydiving.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I
After
didn't
my
know you did.
paralysis.
Wow.
I'm a licensed scuba diver.
Really?
Yeah. And now a licensed pilot.
Yeah, licensed pilot. I know
And,
that for sure.
And getting my instrument.
Yeah.
Getting my commercial. And I'm going to be running your school before it's over with, buddy.
I don't know about that.
Hey, yeah.
I don't know about that.
Adversity. I mean, you get strong during adversity there, buddy. No, I'm just picking with you.
So you had to go through rehabilitation, and you
Yep.
wanted to get done in 3 months because your company was coming up.
So Dr. Fredrickson had came in and said, Chris, look, I understand like you have that it factor that most people already came to terms with being paralyzed.
Yeah.
Some people don't come to terms with that after years. And that's what makes rehabilitation hard. And everybody is different. I came to terms with it. I was like, good, in a wheelchair. Now what I got to do?
Yeah.
He said, here's a list. Do all of these things. Pass them like a check ride.
Yeah.
And you'll get home when your troops get home. And let me tell you something.
I can hear the Rocky music in the background.
I was in physical therapy rocking it out. I was in there rocking it out. I was doing what I had to do, and I actually had 2 weeks to spare.
Yeah.
Finished the list,
Wow.
and I said, ready to go home.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, our Adjutant General of Louisiana was General Landreneau.
Mm-hmm.
He just so happened to come pass by, see how I was doing, told him everything, and told him I accomplished everything the doctor said. And he's like, well, looks like you're getting out today. Went and talked to the doctors. And he said, do you want to fly back with me or do you want to drive back? Because I learned how to drive in San Antonio,
Oh, really?
still with a trach in my throat.
They put you in a car and let you just.
A van.
Oh, no.
And then on top of that, because you know how I am,
Yeah.
do you know what this person actually had the nerve to tell me?
What?
You can speed up a little bit, Chris. Like,
Whoa.
I was in a minivan.
Yeah.
And you know how they have the hills?
Yeah.
She didn't tell me that again because I think I went airborne in that minivan. I said, you want it, you got it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be conservative here, but you know what? You want it a little
You
harder.
want-
Let's
yeah,
do it,
here we go.
baby.
You told that to the wrong person.
Yeah. You don't know me like that. But yeah.
Well, that's.
And but the real rehabilitation started at home, mentally adjusting to who you used to be. I like that, and this was a real
well, everyday life, just getting
right.
getting by.
But it's not just about everyday life; it's about who you used to be.
Yeah.
And some people live on who they used to be. Well, I used to have a job that paid $500,000 a year, but all field went to shit, and now I'm getting.
Yeah.
You
Oh, yeah.
you can use that in any aspect, but I had that as in, I used to be able to do this. I was good at this.
Mm-hmm.
I had to sit down and self-reflect. And that Chris Sullivan that was in the Army on May 21st of 2005 when I got shot,
Mm-hmm.
he had to die on that road in Iraq for me to be able to live as the Chris Sullivan post-injury.
Yeah.
I could not say that's what I used to do. I have to be like, this is what I am and this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And since I went to that mind frame, that poor Chris Sullivan that poor first Chris Sullivan, I'm blowing him out the water.
You're way better than that
I'm
first.
way better than the first one. I should have killed him off a long time ago. Shucks. But no, but it's all, okay, let me tell you a secret. Dr. Fredrickson told me a long time ago about this. A strong mind and a weak body would make for a strong body.
Yeah.
A strong body and a weak mind would deteriorate.
Yeah.
90% of everything is mental. You go in the hospital for anything, you're nervous, you're everything else, your body's going to react to that. So, mind strong. Be better.
Well, that's what
Strive forward.
Brennan and I were talking about, like the Navy SEALs and all that. Those special forces guys, like it's not the big guys that make it through it.
No.
It's always the scrawny guys who you think aren't going to make it through it because they have a stronger mind.
A stronger mind. And
Yeah.
they not carrying around 225
Yeah.
pounds of muscle and everything else.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that I can see.
Now, if you find a SEAL that's that big, you may not want to mess with him because he's got agility, he's got strength, and he got smart.
Yeah.
So let's leave him alone
Let's
if he's
leave him
drinking in the corner at the bar, okay?
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
Somebody's going to get their ankle broken.
Yeah. I don't know who would do something like that.
I have no idea either.
I saw that coming.
You might want to cut this one out.
So you came back home and you had to deal with everyday life. And so when did you start getting into flying or interested in flying? And
I've always, since at a young age, always aspired to be a pilot. Like, who wouldn't? I mean, flying.
It's fun. It's great.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I feel like every kid looks up in the sky and is like, an airplane.
An airplane. And I didn't know what it was. And I was like, I don't know what type it is, but it's an airplane.
Yeah.
Now I can look up like, yeah, that's a 150. No, that's a Cessna 337. It's a push-pull. It's a centerline throw.
Yeah.
You know, you get a little smarter in your days, or think you are. You lying. It could be a 172, but no one's going to know the difference. So you're as smart as you want to be. But I've always wanted to. I just lacked this self-confidence. I underestimated myself. And sometimes people tell me they're sorry that I got hurt because they feel sympathy for me. They're like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. You know, what you would have been if that wouldn't have happened, you know?
Yeah.
And they don't mean it from a mean place because they have a point.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go as far as to say that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. Because it changes the trajectory of where you were and where you're going. And sometimes in your darkest hour, you find your brightest light.
So, mentally is one of the...
Mentally, physically, emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now you just got to use what you have.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back to school and actually... a lot smarter than what I thought it was.
Where'd you go to school at?
UL, and then got a scholarship to go to Able Flight. A shout out to Able Flight. They actually teach people with disabilities how to fly in a light sport aircraft, normally a Sky Arrow, which is Italian-made aircraft, 100 horsepower pusher. Great airplane. I had one.
Now, where are they at?
They are out of Purdue University.
Okay.
I think they have one at Iowa State. And I think they have one. If you go to their website, it's ableflight.com or whatever. I don't know. Just look up Able
Just
Flight.
Google it.
Yeah. Google it.
Yeah.
But I was able to go up there and it's intense, man. It's not like a flight school. You come here and like, oh, you know, you can wait a couple of days. No, it's you slept in the you slept in the dorms. You had you had a flight.
In college.
You had a flight in the morning.
Yeah.
After your flight, you went to class, did 5 hours in class, then you went fly again.
Yeah.
So it was 2-3 flights. Like, oh, you ain't got time. I mean, you better bring a snack.
Yeah.
So, and that was just to get a sports pilot's license.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, it taught me discipline. It taught me a lot, and it taught me I had a passion for it.
So you initially got your sport pilot's license. Then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Flight training is conducted at Able Flight's joint training program at Purdue University in West Lafayette, Indiana.
Yeah.
Which there's another story if you want to hear about that story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the FBO over here is KLFT.
Mm-hmm.
Over there is KLAF.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so it's close.
Yeah.
So they had a new pilot flying a corporate jet. They were supposed to go Lafayette, Louisiana. Guess what he plugged in?
He plugged in Indiana.
Indiana. So he landed there. He's like, is this Lafayette? And he's like, no, this West Lafayette, Indiana. He was like,
oh my God.
He's like, I think you took a wrong turn.
Yeah, I think you did.
I don't think he was following. I don't think his flight planning was just correct.
No, he probably needs to be fired.
Yeah. Don't know if he's in aviation anymore.
Well,
so he landed in Indiana thinking he was in Louisiana.
Yes.
That's what a story I heard from the FBO. Yes.
That's wild.
Well,
I mean, if you followed the but I guess you just set the autopilot and you're just not paying attention. But
I mean, it should tell you the state and
what direction
and
you're
city.
going.
Yeah, what direction?
Look, I'm not going to get into you about the specifics.
We all agree here.
We all agree that was really that is not a good start to a career. Okay.
No. Well, I went up there one time with when I was working for Acadian Ambulance. We
Yeah.
flew Drew Brees up there for he went for some a football game for
Yeah,
Purdue.
he actually built a big football facility there. It's the Drew Brees Athletic something. It's beautiful.
But it was so weird talking to Tower and stuff because Lafayette approach, Lafayette Tower. I was like, man, this is just throwing me off. I just left Lafayette.
I went from West Lafayette to Lafayette.
Yeah.
So, but two totally different cultures.
Yeah.
Here, I'll call everybody sweetheart. Okay.
Can't do that over there.
They don't like that too pretty much. No, not too pretty much. I went to a restaurant and I was like, hey, sweetheart, could I get a Dr. Pepper? And she looked, my name is Angie, not sweetheart. And I'm like,
okay.
Didn't mean nothing by it.
Yeah. Just
appreciate you. Like, I'm from the South.
Yeah.
Even in a wheelchair, like I get a little grace, because I'm in a wheelchair. They're like, oh, well, he probably got mental issues too. And I mean, that shit didn't even work.
So you went and got your sport pilot license.
Yes.
Is that when you moved back to Lafayette, or after you completed that?
Correct. And
what's a sport pilot license?
A sport pilot's license it's not a private pilot. You have certain restrictions. A sport pilot can't fly at night, can't fly above 10,000 feet, can't carry more than one passenger, and the gross rate can't be more than 1320.
Sure, I don't know.
Okay, I think it's 1320 fuel, people, everything else.
So you did that because you figured it'd be easier to get
medical was the big thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, with a sport pilot, all you need is a valid driver's license.
So you bought that Sky Arrow, and that's when
actually, before I bought the Sky Arrow, I was very fortunate that Mr. David Levy had actually, he's also paralyzed. He bought a Sky Arrow, and he lived in New Iberia.
Yeah.
So I was like, I get that one shot to make that first phone call, and I was like, Mr. David, my name is Chris Sullivan. I probably speak so freaking fast. Like, Can I rent your airplane? Can I do this? Can I do that? He's like, I'm going to meet you up with Mr. Robert, which Mr. Robert played a very good friend of mine. He said, y'all go and take a pre-flight and see if you know how to do it. And Robert was impressed, or at least he told me he was impressed. So I was able to fly that for a couple of years, and I always wanted to go for more. I'm not a real stagnant person.
Yeah.
You know what happened with stagnant water?
It's gross.
It gets gross. You know what I mean?
The way
I try to stay fresh.
That's right. So you got to fly.
So
Mr.
I got
David
to fly
Levy's.
David's, and I was able to buy my own Sky Arrow. And then I was like, I want to get my private. But the thing is,
I remember you calling me to ask about putting the hand controls in the 170.
in the 170, because I want to train in it to see, like, because I never really flown anything. I mean, a 150 was huge to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I was in a 777.
No.
I was like, man, this is pretty complex right here, buddy. And then now I'm like, it's like a flying shopping cart.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it is.
Yeah. But to jump from your sport pilot into your private pilot, you need to get a third class medical. Problem with that.
Was you a quadriplegic?
That's not a problem. That's an attribute.
Oh, that's
Ryan.
an attribute.
It's
I'm
an
sorry.
attribute.
I'm sorry.
You're messing up my psyche, Ryan. But no, when you go and do it, if you give that up and you fail your medical,
oh yeah,
you can't fall back into the sport pilot category.
So you're risking. Oh. Yeah, you're risking not being a pilot at all.
Russian roulette.
So wait. So you lose it
if you don't get it.
Yeah, because there's a rule that says if you've never failed.
That you're talking about basic med. Sport pilot, you never have to take a medical. All you need is a driver's license. But once you want to take a roll up into the next level,
then they have a medical on you. And once you cross that path of no return, you got to put your head down and get it. Yeah. There's no return.
Because there's no return. I'll never fly again.
Yeah.
So
you went ahead and applied for third class medical?
Sure did.
And then what'd they tell you? Had
I'm guessing you did a lot of research on whether or not it was possible before. I knew it was possible because they had other people do it. I just had to make sure that I had my own path to get there because so many different people with disabilities are different. I'm going to say the FAA, not going to say makes it easy, but I don't think they should make it easy. Because yes, I know it's inspirational, man. Let's put the first quad flying in this and that. And everything. But what's the number one rule of aviation? Safety. Safety. So they have to make sure that I am not only mentally, physically, and able to control that aircraft. Mm-hmm. So I had to pass all the medical. I had to go like to 5 different doctors.
Well, I mean, I know with our guys who have ADD or ADHD, you know, they have to do all kinds of, the FAA sends them a lot of letters and they'll have to go to doctors, psych doctors and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, to kind of get it reversed and stuff and to say that the diagnosis isn't the same. Yeah.
But you usually get like 2 or 3 letters.
You can't be on any medicine. It's not that you can't be on Adderall. The thing is, they have nothing against Adderall, but what's Adderall used for? Attention deficit disorder. Do you want somebody in a cockpit that has attention deficit disorder?
If they're taking medicine for it, I have it, so I have a weird.
But right. But
like if I'm taking my medicine and I'm flying a plane, I'm flying the plane and doing nothing else.
Right,
like,
but if you don't have it and you go get in the plane and say,
Squirrel.
I'll be all right, and you coming up on flying, and you're like, is that a bird?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, but that's what scares me about. So like when people learn this about ADHD, they have to go and like almost convince the doctors they don't have it. I'd rather someone.
There's actually talks up in DC and in the FAA about that to kind of not be to be a little bit more open because most pilots won't tell you.
Yeah.
And that's causing a secondary problem that they're trying to avoid with the rule in the first place. So they they're going around one problem and making it even worse problem.
That's my
and then especially when that's your career.
Yeah.
So no, you're totally right. And there is talks in DC and the FAA and all this other stuff. Let's see with this administration if they can come up with a solution. And I really think that they can come up with a solution if they just stop fighting with each other. Shit.
Just gotta, I mean, if they can run the right tests and prove that they could do it, really.
Which I had to go take a soda ride, which is a statement of demonstrated ability. So I had to go. But the problem with that, you almost got to have your own plane or a plane that's handicap accessible because you can't go in an airplane that don't have hand controls and go show them that you can use hand controls. So there's always every time you think you on the track, you get off the track. It's like, damn, another roadblock. I should quit. And then you're like, nah, mom ain't raised no quitter. PG kids. PG kids.
So you had to go through that process of getting your medical and you obviously got it because
obviously got it. Passed the check ride. Wasn't nothing, relaxed, like just
a normal check ride, just like we all do.
Right. I mean, and I
there wasn't anything specific about
anything different you're talking about. Actually, no. And what I try to, I'm not going to say I work harder than everybody else because that would be something that I really don't know. But if I'm going to do a check ride, I want to be the able-bodied person. Like, I don't want to just barely pass a check ride. Like,
you want him to confirm, there's no question this guy knows what he's doing. There's no question
that this quadriplegic can freaking fly.
Yeah.
That and I don't want somebody to look at me and thank God we have such a good DME here. We had a talk a while back, a long time ago, and I was like, Peyton, I don't want you to take it easy on me. He's like, because he's military. He flew Hueys and everything. I know y'all had him on.
Yeah.
And he's like, Chris, I'm not.
Yeah.
Standards are standards.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold me to a higher one because I'm going to get it done.
Yeah.
And he's like, no doubt.
Yeah.
So
that doesn't make sense as a fear for you of like, I
don't want to be like, they gave you that shit because you crippled. Yeah. Okay, we'll jump in the airplane with me.
Let's
then.
go. Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah. I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
You're going to learn today.
So right now you're working on instrument. That's what we're doing.
I was actually, about a year ago, I was working instrument and commercial. I
I like the stress.
Yeah.
And I was ready for my sign off for my commercial and my instrument. I was getting really, really, really close. But again, when I went into what I kind of iterate on what I said earlier about being able to make pilot decisions and stuff like that, I was going through stuff in my life that I thought that I wouldn't be able to perform at my highest peak as a pilot.
Yeah.
So, and it was a perfect time to put my airplane down and spend.
Well, you did have to change an engine
and spend a small fortune. So, my son isn't too happy about him not getting that part of the inheritance.
Yeah,
I mean, hopefully his school's paid for by the VA, but I mean, we're going to see. But yeah, so I got a great engine.
Now, so you had a Sky Arrow.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was
Yeah, you had a Sky. You bought a Sky Arrow, but you've had multiple other airplanes.
Correct.
You don't have the Sky Arrow anymore. Right?
No, I sold it actually to David, so David now has two.
Oh, okay.
He uses it for backup. If one's down for maintenance, he'll still be able to fly and stuff like that.
Now, David,
because it's more therapeutic for him versus anything else. Because have you ever heard of the old saying, I just need some knees in the breeze? It's about ride. Like it's therapeutic. It's like you think of nothing else. And I can't speak on his behalf, but I know what it feels like to me.
Now he's in a wheelchair too.
Yes, he's a paraplegic. He has it's a different type of injury. He got
a motorcycle accident, didn't he? Is that I think?
I'm not sure, and I don't really want to get into that.
Yeah,
that's.
But anyway, he's in a wheelchair
that'd be
also.
His story. Yeah.
But he's in a wheelchair also.
Correct.
Yeah.
And probably the smartest man I know. Like, he is just intelligent, man.
Yeah.
Who is this?
David Levy. He's from New Iberia. He's just a great, great, great person. Always trying to help people and stuff like that, and wants no recognition.
Yeah.
So he might get pissed off he even said his name, but I just want to throw it out there. Y'all know him or y'all don't know him. I don't care. But
I think I've met him a couple of times, but I don't know him that well. Not as much as Mr. Robert.
Right.
I know Robert better.
But just
who is he in this situation? Like, what did he do? I missed something.
I used his airplane because he actually had one of the few Sky Arrows in the United States that had hand control.
Gotcha.
So so you sold your plane to him.
I sold it. Yep.
And then you got what'd you get?
I got a Piper Cherokee 180.
Okay.
I went into partnerships with him, got out of that one, went up to California, got another Piper 180, less time by myself, flew it back. And let me tell you something. You think you're a pilot until you're flying in the mountains with density altitude. Let me tell you something. You learn a lot how you don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
This isn't normal.
Yeah, it's like, why isn't this plane taking off density altitude?
Yeah.
We talked about that recently.
Yeah, we did talk about density altitude and stuff.
So, and then when you at about 13,000 feet and the mountains or like at 12,500, and you're only 500 feet above the mountain, but you're really 13,000 feet in the air. It's like,
Yep.
Yeah, but anyway, so I flew it back and got a call from Charles Seitz with Able Flight, and he called and said, hey, I got a guy named Clayton from Daytona Beach, and he very smart engineer, and he's also has a disability to where he's limited functions in his legs. And y'all can actually see him. His name is, if you go to the Cirrus website,
oh, yeah?
He's the first person to design hand controls for the Cirrus jet.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask, actually. So I was like, how do they, if you can't pull the chute, do they have something else, a different way to pull it?
Well,
I mean, he has his hands.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but like, for somebody who's not as coordinated.
Well, no, he's coordinated. He's got a lot of upper body.
He's just a quadriplegic?
No, he's a paraplegic.
A paraplegic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
quad is okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have.
This is my good hands.
But like for you, do they have like an attachment that helps you? That would help you pull it?
Believe me, if I needed to pull it, I would jump up there with my teeth. Don't you worry about me. I had people that said, well, you live alone. Like, what if the house catches on fire? I said, why the house catches on fire when you're there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get up and get out. I'll get up and get out. But what if you can't get in your wheelchair? I'll flop out of the bed and low crawl. Like, you don't worry
Army
about
crawl
me.
It to the
Follow me.
Yeah.
Follow me.
Oh my gosh.
There's different ways to get the cake baked, but it's still
Yeah.
gonna get baked.
Yeah.
And I ain't getting baked in that far. So, but if you look him up on the Cirrus site, like, he is the first person to ever get type certified for the Vision Jet that he designed the hand controls for. It's just, his name is
awesome.
Clayton. Like, he is just, and a God-fearing man. He is he's just one of those people that are infectious to be around. I bought this from him. He designed the hand control that I have now, and it got it field approved. He also has a Lance that he also has the same hand control that the Piper does, because a Piper Lance and this is pretty much the same, just 1.6 and a little bit more horsepower and stuff. But yeah, he's a great guy, and he was another one in a long journey of people that I couldn't have did it by myself.
Yeah. So now you're flying an Arrow.
Yes.
You don't have
a Piper Arrow,
a Piper Arrow.
Come on,
a Piper Arrow. Sorry, but the wrong Arrow.
Yeah. This one's a mean
Let the
machine.
audience know that it's a Piper Arrow, not a Sky
It's
Arrow.
the big 4-seaters.
Yeah. So, but you don't have, you sold the Cherokees.
Correct.
Yeah.
I sold it to a local guy around here, and it's still in the hangar and stuff. So it still gets flown a lot. So I'm just glad it went to a good home. They taking care of it, and he's really enjoying the aircraft.
And so now we're working with you to get your instrument in the Arrow.
Correct.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to have you back on once you pass your instrument rating.
Well, I think the timeline is kind of going to be on you. The ball's in your court now.
Yeah. Well, now we got we got a small deadline too, don't we? When does
we
that?
do have a small deadline because I took that little 1-year hiatus.
Yeah.
To be able to get myself back where I need to be.
Yeah.
I took my written for my commercial a long time ago. Well, 2 years ago. And guess what happened with that? It expired.
Yeah.
So I have to go retake it, whatever. So just for reference, I decided to check out my PSI Talent. You know, that's the website that has all your results and testing centers. And yeah, I got till January to pass my.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We got to get it done.
What are we
work better
doing
on
in
this
here?
trip. So now you're on the hook. We on a podcast. People are going to see. I mean, your business is literally going to go off if I get my instrument or not.
Well, I mean, you know, you were almost there before, so I don't think it'll be a big problem because
I don't think so.
It's just knocking the rust off, basically.
Yeah, and I'm more of, I don't want to be ready for a check ride. I want to be ready to teach a check ride.
Yeah.
When I take my check rides, I want to almost be able to teach the check ride.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want one question to be out of my realm of knowledge. Because while I'm flying, it's not just like flying an airplane. Flying an airplane to me, I always can, like, that's simple to me.
Yeah.
I have to manipulate controls that manipulates controls that operate the aircraft.
Yeah.
So I gotta almost not think about hand movement. Like, where's my hands going on different stages of flight, on takeoff, on approach, on descent, on landing. Like, and I can't think about where my hands are going to go. It needs to be muscle memory. So if I don't do it for a while, I'll call y'all up. Is it that I can't fly? No, it's because I want somebody with me to make sure that muscle movement is still there.
Yeah.
Because you never want to give, another thing you will learn if you come to this great facility and learn how to fly is, you never want to get behind the aircraft. You never want to get behind the aircraft, because the aircraft gets ahead of you, it's going to bite you in the butt.
Yep.
Yeah, you always want to aviate. Come on.
What? Navigate,
and then communicate.
Yeah.
And that is the 3 stage. You see, I'm teaching the teacher.
Hey, you're an advanced ground instructor.
I absolutely am. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's just another little feather. Another little feather in the hat. But I would like to say I'm kind of an overachiever. Yeah.
So after you get your instrument, then plan on getting commercial?
Yeah, pretty quick.
Yeah.
Ask me what I'm going to do after that. probably gonna go get my CFI.
Yeah.
Just the next step after the next.
Why
step.
not?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna have to stop. Had a friend of mine, real go getter. He's like, you can do anything. I can,
Yeah.
but I have limitations. Okay. He's like, before you know it, you can be flying for Delta, and I was like, listen to me.
Listen.
I'm a very open-minded quadriplegic.
Yeah.
If I am flying somewhere and I'm getting on the airplane and I see a co-pilot or a strong stewardess
Yeah.
picking up my pilot and putting him into the pilot seat, I think I might turn around and take the little stipend to stay an extra day and make me $100 on it. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. So I don't know if I'm going to get there.
I didn't think about it like that, but yeah, I'd probably get off that airplane.
Hey, look. I'm all for it. Look, he passed the test. He's probably good.
Yeah.
But in emergency, I want him to grab me off the airplane. I don't need to grab him off the airplane. So, yeah. So, are we going to finish this podcast or are you going to laugh?
On the Delta.
On the Delta.
Yep. That's the next step.
Well, I had a shoe in for Spirit, but I think they're going bankrupt.
They're not going to make it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that was.
They went bankrupt, or they filed for bankruptcy. They're not
That's
out.
because they don't have enough disabled pilots.
That's right. I
mean, we're half price because we can only use half.
There's a good question. Do you know anybody who's disabled and flies for the airlines?
No.
I mean, obviously not. He wouldn't be saying that.
I mean,
He's like,
I wouldn't be saying
shout out
that.
to Joe, but I'm not flying on your airplane.
Yeah. No. But
There are commercial pilots, though.
now I talked to
believe
Mr. Seitz and starting from where I started from. Like I started from sport pilot and worked myself up because it was after my paralysis when I started flying. There's people that flew before their paralysis that had their ratings. But for somebody to start from sport and to get where I'm at, Charles pretty much does a lot of that. And he said he only knows of two people. One person got his commercial,
Yeah.
don't have his instrument. One person got his private, an instrument, but don't have his commercial.
I guess that makes sense.
Oh,
It's
okay.
rare to begin with, and to go all the way is
Yeah.
probably-
And because it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes determination. So I want to do it and not just doing it for self-gratification.
Mhm.
It's just to do it to say, you can freaking do it.
Yeah.
And the other people that have did it have more dexterity.
Yeah.
They are paraplegic, so you see my hands, you know, I have to make that shit work.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I got to make that shit work. And not taking away from anything because, I mean, that is hard in itself.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say I'll be the first. I don't care if I'm the first. I just want to be one that somebody can say, I can do that if I want.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I can do it. So and like I said, I've always pushed the envelope. I don't know if I said it on the podcast. I went skydiving.
Yeah.
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 Like,
That's crazy.
who the hell does that?
No.
I wouldn't even go.
No, I don't think I'd go skydiving.
And then like, listen, I can't use my legs, right?
Yeah.
So I jump out with this guy. Well, before we jump out, I'm like, okay, my legs. If we land, I don't need my legs to start doing cartwheels. So he duct taped my legs together, tied some 550 cord. And if you're in the military, you know what 550 cord is. So he tied 550 cord, went around right here, made some loops and a D-ring.
Yeah.
So when we're about to land, he pulls that rope and the legs go.
Like a marionette.
Yeah. The worst part is when he pulled the chute and the boys kind of got a little. It was so beautiful, but I was like, can we speed this up a little bit? You know, I had one son on the way. You know, I didn't know if I wanted another one, but I knew if I was going to float down for any while longer, I was never going to have another one. So, and then I went, probably about a year later, I went up to Grand Caymans. Johns Hopkins University was doing a study on how deep sea diving affected paralysis because you breathe in oxygen, like pure oxygen. Like, does it help mental, like what does it help your body? Does it help rejuvenate cells? Does it help mental, the pressure, negative pressure, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was selected to go, and I was like, free?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm going.
Yeah. So I'm a licensed scuba diver.
Okay.
So, and then I was like, well, what else is there to do?
Yeah.
I can fly.
Do the opposite of what, yeah.
Dude, I go all the way down, or that's pretty much my personality. Either or the end of life. You know, I'm either going all the way down or going all the way up. I don't know if I'm going flight or if I'm going scuba diving. You know, you take that the way you want.
Yeah.
But maybe one time in the future after I get my instrument, or if y'all want to come up and
No, I was just thinking. I was like, now I really got to see. Like,
yeah, we got to go
Yeah.
flying. I mean, I've flown with him, and I'm still here.
Yeah,
So-
he took a couple of diazepam. Any flight examiner, do not record. Do not repeat this. He definitely had to take some Xanax, some diazepam, a little horse tranquilizer.
Well, you got that hand control that does the pedals, the rudder pedals, and it's very sensitive. Like now, I don't know. Well, no, I flew this plane. But in your Cherokee, I remember it was up and down, and you had to pull it up and down. It's just complicated. Like for me to figure out, all right, do I pull it up for right rudder or left rudder? Or,
But I guess that does make sense even more because he learned it that way. So to you,
well, I didn't learn it that way because I learned it in a different aircraft. So that's why I say when I haven't flown in a while, I'll get an instructor to come with me because I have to make sure that. When I'm on short and final and I think I'm hitting left rudder, I don't hit right rudder. I'm riding that crosswind and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so for you, that's how an airplane flies. For you, it's not.
Yeah.
Right. But when you use
different.
so many different, it's like driving a car that has a gas pedal. But then you drive a car that has a gas pedal, but you operate it with your hand.
Yeah.
Then you have another car, you operate it with your head.
Yeah.
You know, can you still drive it? Probably. It's going to get some used to it. You got to get used to it.
Yeah, you got to get used to it.
And you can't think about it.
Right.
So, I mean, but you can't just hit the brake and pull over on the side of the road when you're about 5,000 feet in the air.
No.
Oh, you can't?
Huh?
You can't do that?
Well, I mean, you can pull over and
but you still
unless you have a chute to pull out.
Unless you're flying a Cirrus.
Yeah, unless you're flying a Cirrus. And let's just say I don't have Cirrus money. So, yeah.
Well, that's good. We'll have to have you back on after you finish your instrument.
Yep. Let's do that, and we can go up and fly and kind of show y'all how that operation works, and maybe somebody else can look at that and want to.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
That whole idea, like that you were talking about earlier, like if we could advertise that we could help paraplegic, quadriplegic,
yeah, because that's another thing. I bought they have 2 STCs in the history of the FAA for people with paralysis. They have a union hand control, which is made for Cessnas. I think it's 177 Cardinals, 150s, and 172s. Maybe for the 337, but I don't think that's in the STC, even though it would work from what I heard, FAA. And I also have what's called a Blackwood, which works in Piper Cherokees. So, if you want to just come check it out, we don't have I'm not sure if you have a Piper Cherokee here, but like if you want to use that union hand control, look it up, see what it's about, and call Ryan, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind getting you up just to get a feel of it.
Yeah.
It could be a discovery flight.
Yeah.
So it could be a 2-in-1, and if that's something that you would like to go forward with, and because it's stressful, but it's rewarding and it's therapeutic. It gives you purpose, it gives you motivation, it gives you confidence. It's something that you never thought that you would be able to do.
Yeah.
When I first came home, my biggest worry was, am I going to be able to open up a door?
Yeah.
Especially that big ass door you got in the front. I still have trouble with that.
Oh, you got it.
I'm not saying I don't have it. I'm just saying I don't like to get it.
It's not fun.
I need a button that says
Chris is here. Chris is here. Chris is here.
We'll have to get one of those Ring doorbells for you.
And if you're early in your injury, don't think that you got to come out to the airport and prove a point. Everything comes with time. Just always, just like I was saying about stagnant water, just don't stay stagnant.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's anything. That's people with paralysis. That's people without paralysis. That's people in general that just got laid off or anything else. Just always
gotta keep moving.
Just got to keep moving. Just keep that water fresh and have something grow from it, because you never know what's going to grow from it.
Yeah.
And another point that I made earlier, sometimes in your darkest hour, you find your brightest light. And you're able to find that, look at it, and it makes the course of your life just a little bit more brighter.
Yeah. That's how we're going to end it right there. That's it.
So is there any striptease?
You can if you would like.
Now the real Chris is coming.
No.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
Turn it off.
Flight Tales, woo-woo.
If you've made it this far, you listened to the entire episode. And for that, we would just like to say thank you, and we hope you enjoyed it. We would also like to thank today's guest, Chris, for joining us today and sharing his story. If you have any questions about today's episode or suggestions for future episodes, just leave a comment or message us. If you'd like to check out some fun and informative aviation videos, check out our YouTube channel at Owens Flight Training. Or if you'd like to get more information on becoming a safe, knowledgeable, and confident pilot, just head over to our website, owensflighttraining.com.